チャコールが染み渡ったイチョウ並木の通りに有頂天に袖を振る金魚が泳ぐ記念窓のようさ簡単に嘘ぶけるラムネだまま魔法にかかったハムシのように淡い夢にとらわれこの夜を抜け出せない
Mature content warning. This computer software contains content that may be unsuitable for some players, including depictions of violence, sexual conduct, abuse, rape, mental illness, murder, discriminatory language, and suicide. This work does not in any way endorse or affirm criminal acts or violations of human rights. By continuing beyond this point, the users agree he or she or they acknowledge the above does not find such content described above offensive nor obscene and is requesting this content as in good mental health.
Oh my god, it's here, which you're all waiting for so long. Everybody has been commenting in my old Hashihime that they want a season 3, and here it is, season 3, Hashihime of the Old Booktown, y'all. We're doing this an annually event, I guess, each October, I guess. But anyways, we're playing Hashihime of the Old Booktown again, because honestly, this game is the one breaking views. But I also really like this game as well. And I still really want Professor's Route, so that's also the reason why I still hear y'all comments of wanting more of these. Also, we still haven't get what's his name? The military guy. The picture that was on Steam. I can't believe that put that picture when it's like so far. So yeah, well, enough rambling. Honestly, excited. Honestly, don't know where we're gonna go with here. So we shall see who's gonna end up next. But I'm gonna skip all the initial part that's gonna just repeat, you know, before the choices. So if you wanna know, you gotta watch the old videos, man. It's shit. Honestly, I wanna replay it, but I don't have the patience because that's like a 15 episode, 15-hour kind of thing. Maybe one day we'll do a super long one when I don't have a job. I don't know, but sorry guys, you just have to watch that shit video or watch somebody else's video and then come back here to see other endings. So yeah, let's go. It's different, let's go. Are you ready, guys? Because I'm not. I jumped off the pouring rain, but Hanazawa was coming after me. When I reached a puddle, he grabbed my arm.
話してくれ。
話してくれ。
戻らなくちゃならないんだ。私は水上を。
助けてどうする？水上はお前にそうしてくれと頼んだか？
What was he initiating? Initiating?
一つ疑問がある。お前はどうして東洋記念まで待っていたんだ？
Which was our question since the first season.
は？
Huh?
俺には水上の死んだ水道橋が殺害現場のようには思えなかった。
何が言いたいんだ？
水上は自殺だ。
自殺だ。
違う！怪人がそう見せかけるためにやったんだ。
お前には二度水上の死に立ち会う機会があった。
聞けよ、私の話。
しかしなぜお前は水道橋で待たなかった？
Exactly.
なぜ2度目の水上の死に疑問を持たなかった？俺ならこれが他殺であるか自殺であるか、それを知るために水道橋で水上を待つ。
お前にわかるか？いきなりわけのわからんところに投げ出されて、皆に白い目で見られて、自分のドッペルゲンゲルに出会って。ああ、私は。
お前はただ水上の自殺を認めたくないだけだ。水上を救うことはできない。なぜなら水上がお前を必要としていないからだ。
なんてこと言うんだお前。
でも僕たちは違います。
Be their friend. Be their friend. Professor came at the moment and held an umbrella over me and Hanazawa.
僕たちは君を必要としている。
They're dickheads though. Run, Namamori.
本物の親友になりましょう。
Hanazawa gently let go of my hand.
そう。
You were the ones who told me, weren't you? That time would definitely bring me back? To not give up? You may have been saying those words for yourself from the start, but they saved me. Because you believed me. I was finally able to believe myself. So I take their hand. Which route we're gonna go? Let's do it. Take it. Oh yeah. My hand had lifted at some point. Hanazawa took a step few closer. Friend in need took out Hanazawa's hand. Okay, I think we're going Hanazawa's route, but let's see. No, you can't start with that. My heart. He grabbed my hand and held it gently, then pulled me close. His heartbeat was calm. If I listened closely and focused on it, it sounded like a ringing far off in the distance. That faint sound wasn't all it took for Hanazawa to calm me.
酷なことを言って悪かった。
Babe, he's manipulating you, but goddamn, he do it so flawlessly. Okay, calm. He had always done this whenever I was tormented by hallucinations. He is very older brother. Did not mean to say father. Older brother vibe. Honestly, love it. I would listen to his heartbeat, realize I was the only one freaking out, and calm down. This was my temporary peace of mind, and the norm between Hanazawa and I. That's why I was able to calm down now, the same way I did then. Figured the reason that still had an effect on me as an adult was because I was still so immature.
私だって分かっているよ。水上が自殺だってことは。
No, my heart. Also, Hakeseko just watching this. Love it.
認められるなら認めたい。
The warmth of his body was melting away, my cold, hard exterior. All I could do to keep it from overflowing from my eyes was open them wide and dry them out.
でも認められないのは。
No. I guess in here Tamamori does like Minagami, but we are moving past that.
諦められないのは。
Akiramerai.
こんな力があるからだ。
No, baby. His voice. We can't start with a sob story.
私だって好きですがっているわけじゃない。
I could fix this. I've been given the power to start over. That's why I couldn't allow this to become reality. The moment I focused my feelings of the helplessness into my fist, my body started to tremble all over. Hanazawa moved away from me and grabbed my hand instead.
便利なものとは思わんか。
My bitter smile had no effect on Hanazawa.
未来がわかるということは。
私はもう耐えきれそうもない。
ならば俺がお前と変わってやろう。
And he'll kill me! This whore, I hate him.
その力を俺にくれないか。
I felt no sense of doubt in Hanazawa's words. He saw my madness and could still strive for the same condition. I couldn't believe it, so I felt like laughing again. But he was dead serious, sincere, earnest. while he listened intently to my melodrama.
必ず救ってやる。
花沢。
Don't trust him, man. He don't like him. He don't like you.
辛抱だ。
Shimbo. So this is what reassurance felt like. My mind was at peace and I felt relief. I wiped my overflowing tears on Hanazawa's chest. I couldn't remember the last time I had shed so many. There were very few emotional moving components to the story I was experiencing, because it was filled with nothing but terrifying curiosities and madness. It was as though strong emotions such as anger and sadness would be the last thing to come gushing out in reality. So today, they were flowing from the clouds that had been gathering in my eyes for who knows how many years. My tough exterior was pointless in front of Hanazawa. So how? How do we give it to him?
それではおやすみなさいませ。
Ayasuminasai.
かたじけない。
Osma Sazan-san waved from the driver's seat. She left us with her manic driving that betrayed her peaceful demeanor.
よく平気な顔でいられるな。
何がだ？
Nanigata?
あの人の運転だ。まだ目が回る。
Why did Hagase just like stay quiet?
今のはまだマシな方だ。去年はもっとひどかった。
Hanazawa muttered indifferently, not concerned in the least. If someone as stoic as Hanazawa could call it worse, her driving really must have been incredible. Anyway, we arrived at Hanazawa's apartment. Here? Even though it was in the middle of the night, he noisily opened the door. It made me jump in surprise, but eventually the dark quiet returned.
どうした？
Ooh.
いや、いや、
There was a single bottle of shichimi on top of the low round table. The fact that I was searching for any sort of simulation was proof of how whack my senses were. Hanazawa suddenly began to change his clothes. Ooh. He glanced at me, so I hurriedly closed the door.
しかし驚いた。こんな狭い家に住んでいるとは。
多少窮屈だが、何物も手に届く範囲にある方がいい。
Well, that's a way to think. Well, that was true. The number one reason I never put anything away in my room was because I was going to use it again later. Same, Tamamori. My pens, ink, and manuscript paper were all over the place because it was too much of a hassle to stuff them into a drawer just to pull them out again. Finally, able to assign a reason to my laziness, I nodded at him, deeply moved. Meanwhile, Hanazawa had finished changing. Now that he was out of his military uniform and in his civilian clothes, he suddenly sat
お
down.
前も座れ。
Sir, glasses and white shirt? Actually, I may change type. It's suddenly Hanazawa instead of Akase-kun. You look odd. I have Megane problem and you have Megane and now I love you.
ああ。
I touched the frayed tatami for no particular reason. As I got a better look, I noticed the support beams were scratched, and there were spots here and there on the wall where globs of paint had been applied. It looked like the original room had been divided to make even more rooms. Its rundown condition did to me because of Hanazawa. Suddenly our eyes
居
met.
心地が悪いか。
Yeah?
そんなことはない。なんだか花沢らしいよ。
That's not a compliment. Hanazawa lowered his
出前
eyes.
でも取るか。
Ooh.
こんな時間にやっている店なんてあるのか？
ここは12階の真下だ。歓楽街に昼夜はない。
Let's go.
でも私はいいよ。食欲がない。
The air felt a little heavier as both of us fell silent. That was when Hanazawa suddenly grabbed the shichimi. He shook some out in the palm of his hand, and popped into his mouth like he was taking a pill.
え、あ、そうやって食べるのか？
空腹はいつもこれでしのいでいる。
What?
腹が減っているなら食べろ。私のことは気にしなくていい。
悪いな。
Still seated, he opened the sliding door behind him. I only caught a glimpse, but it was cramped with reserve of canned salmon. I believe it's salmon. Hanazawa pulled one out and set it on the table.
これだけ。
これに七味をかける。
What is shichimi and why is he obsessed with it? He shook the can 5 or 6 times and finally pulled the lid completely off, sprinkled shichimi on top, I guess it's like pepper, and well, more like piled it on. Then looking completely indifferent, he ate his shichimi-covered boiled salmon. felt really strange watching him as he scarfed down with his incredibly average meal, pseudo-devouring tofu sprinkled with green onions. Which is more boring than boiled salmon with shichimi.
いい、遠慮する。
He seemed to be trying to offer me some, but so I immediately refused. And so I'll pick at another can. After looking for a place to rest my eyes, I look up at the light bulb surrounded by mosquitoes. And as I was a little, actually, very strange. Yeah, we should have noticed that at Hakase's place. His boldness, the strength of his nerve. You okay? Beam? Everything about him was too much extreme. If it weren't, he probably wouldn't have been able to say those things. Pinky. Why don't you give me that power? If Kawase had come to if Kawase had come to me crying and blurting out his troubles, I'd definitely be speechless. After being speechless, I'll still be speechless, and night would fall before I could give him any sort of tactful response. But Hanazawa was different. What was it he had said to me as I clung to him crying? Then I'll switch with you. Someone like me who took advantage of his strength was truly a weak human being.
案ずるな。
Anzurna. His voice.
その力の移行方法については、俺と博士で必ず見つけ出してみせる。
Okay, so we're not trying the evil route in this route. Okay, good. Don't tell me it's spoken aloud. No, that couldn't be possible. He seems to be looking down, but he was keeping a close eye on my face. Instead of thanking him, I gave him a wide smile. This power may have been inside of me for who knows how long. I didn't even know the basics of how it moved around yet. But Hanazawa's words had put me at ease again. A smile came to Hanazawa's face as well.
玉森。やっと笑ったな。
Oh, Hanazawa.
それはこっちのセリフだ。昔はもう少し笑ってくれたではないか。
Well, he's been through shit,
笑み
bro.
を心がけた方がいいか。
I mean, he could for me.
別に強要するつもりはない。自然でいてくれ。
自然でいるつもりだぞ。
Hanazawa put his chopsticks down and gulped down the water mixed with dissolved shishimi. What's with him and shishimi? When I saw his throat undulating, I also gulped for some reason. Bro, guys, like lower the tension here. Like what?
お前は変わったな。
In a good way?
私
Watashi?
そのメガネだ。いつから目を悪くした？
I just wanna look cool.
テートに来てからかな。にゃはは。
Yeah. I miss his laughter.
帝大を目指していると聞いた。さぞ苦学しているのだろう。
Not really.
にゃはは。
似合っているぞ。
Arigatou gozaimasu. I can't believe he hadn't realized my glasses were fake. Well, it felt like people could figure out that I basically wore fake glasses so I would look smart. After faking a cough, I let out an exaggerated yawn.
そろそろ寝るか。
気を使わせてすまん。
俺こそ大した構いもできなくてすまんな。
大丈夫。本当に大丈夫。I wasn't expecting anything, nor was I hoping for anything. But when I heard second lieutenant, I definitely imagined a more dazzling word. The whole room shaking when he opened the sliding doors felt insanely familiar to me. Hey, he's humble. So that Hawazawa. They mistyped it, it's funny. Laid out black and pink futons, cute. I was fine with the black. Actually, I wanted him to give me the black one, but I was stuck into the pink one. And now it's past 3 in the morning. Ooh, there was no way I could sleep. The smell of roses stung to my nostrils. The futon rustled every time I turned over. What the hell was with this futon? I didn't know if it was his guest futon or something, but it's clearly made for a woman. Ooh, huh? Is that why did you bring people here? Finally got out of bed and went down into the alley. was breathing really heavily. I never thought the wind and rain could be so refreshing. Why are you here? Then when I escaped to the lavatory, turned on the light, Haruhi-san was there relieving himself.
なんだい、玉森くん。血相を変えて。君も便意かい？
いいえ。ちょっとじれ込んで眠れなくて。
どこでも眠れる君が、ねえ。
Haruhi-san fixed his kama and closed the toilet lid. He stood boldly on top of it and faced me.
布団がやけに臭いというか。
人の家でよくも贅沢が言えるね。
I know, right?
そんなことより早く出て行ってください。
He slid along the wall and vanished. I stared coldly as I watched him leave, then I let out a deep sigh.
君はこのままでいいのかい？
Haruka-san's voice echoed from above the ceiling this time. It was like something a yokai would do.
何か思うことがあるのではないかね。
思うこと？
His presence disappeared. Thinking about what? He wasn't aware of myself? And I think he mentioned might be something that was bothering me subconsciously. Like Minakami. I leaned at the back of my head against the wall and looked up at nothingness. There wasn't anything left for me to do after that, so I eventually went back to my futon. I dragged my feet in unison with raindrops and tried to slip as quietly as possible.
眠れないか。
Cute. Look, so cute.
ちょっとな。
ちょっとな。
俺の言ったことを気にかけているのなら謝る。
謝る。Minakami killed himself. You just don't want to admit that Minakami killed himself. You can't save Minakami because for some reason, Minakami doesn't need you.
もう気にしてない。
Oh, Tamamori really liked him. Nazawa was absolutely right. Says if I choose to get angry, he'll probably end up hating me.
もしまだ不安があるのなら俺を頼ってくれ。
Would you hug me?
すべて解決してみせる。
Ooh! I immediately turned towards him. Could sense how white his bag was under his pile of comforters and broke into a smile again.
そう言ってくれるだけで安心するよ。
He's so reassuring, isn't he? At times he seemed like a different person, but his words had an effect on me, as usual. That probably wouldn't change, no matter how many hundred of years may pass.
おやすみ。
Yes, me? There was no reply. I must have fallen asleep already. Hanazawa's story. Ooh. Still, I was starting to think I was a thoroughly weak man. Whenever I was annoyed, I shook my legs. Whenever I complained, I muttered them to myself. My emotions come out of my face. I wasn't sure how many times Kawase had laughed at me because of that. If I were an ideal man, I'll be quiet and simple, a sophisticated person who never spoke their mind. In short, I'll be Hanazawa. When I was young, I would rely on Hanazawa on every little thing. My bamboo copter will fall into someone else's rice paddy and he'll pick it up. He'll replace my spinning tops. He'd make me playing cards for me. He'd give me kendama. He chided in a way that made sure I understood every time. I could see how Haruko-san, the idealized image of myself, had been created with Hanazawa's image in mind. Well, Haruko-san was no match for Hanazawa's genuine generosity. I woke up to the sound of noodles being slurped. The food out next to me had been put away and the low table was in the next room. Bathed in dim light, I slowly crawled out from the futon.
おはよ
う。出前を取ったんだが食べられるか。
I put on my glasses for no reason and came straight towards the table. The amber steam coming from the soba noodles fogged my vision. Hanazawa was staring right at me. I put my hands together, gave thanks for my food, and nodded at him. The shichimi I sprinkled on it shook the steam. Soba noodles cutting them easily with my teeth. Could just waste his kindness. I moved my chopstick as if my mood from earlier had been a total lie. Ripped the bowl, drank the broth, and let out a satisfied sigh. But then I noticed Hanazawa's gaze on me again. Actually, it felt like he had been watching me the whole time.
お前に一つ。
Hanazawa said as he handed me a brown envelope that had been lying next to him. was around 20 pages thick. I look at its face as I check its content. Some old manuscript came out. It was sunburned down with smudged letters here and there. No, they weren't smudged. The writer's handwriting was just really terrible.
これって。
お前から借りた原稿だ。
Aww.
だよな、懐かしい。
しかし、だよな、cutie. He was the one I had given Hanazawa when he left for Aizu to go to the military academy.
ずっと思っていたのか？
これでも大事に扱っていたつもりだ。
でも、これはひどい字だ。
It needed to be deciphered rather than
今
read.
でもたまに読み返す。
Cute.
嘘つけ。
本当だ。
それで、頼みってなんだ？これを書き直せとかか？
他でもない。これを博士に貸してもいいだろうか。
Cutie. He really likes Hakase-kun, huh? Bitch, I thought you were here complimenting me. And as I was blushing a little, distracted by that, I fell silent, and so he quickly went on.
博士は空想科学小説以外にもこのような冒険小説に目がなくてな。奴も必ず心奪われると思う。俺はいつかこの原稿について語らいたいのだ。
He really
だから
likes
博士
it.
に貸与したい。
Okay, okay.
別に構わんぞ。そもそもこれは花沢にあげたものだ。お前の好きなようにしてくれていい。
そうか、恩に切る。
When I gave him back the envelope, Hanazawa took it with eyes still lowered. He touched his cheek as if to wipe away his blush, then let out a short sigh. His behavior was still surprising me. The rain sounded awfully close.
自分が何を書いたか覚えているか？
Sorta.
もちろん。
なら、これからも忘れないでくれ。
Ooh. Could barely understand what Hanazawa was saying. As I sat there, unable to find the words to ask him about it, the distant sound of a car engine was coming closer. Shook the sound of the rain made rickety house creak. After it stopped in front of his home, there was a cheerful knock at the door. It's
花沢
Hakase.
君、玉森君、おはようございます。お迎えに上がりましたよ。
Ohayou gozaimasu.
迎え。
Hanazawa returned the manuscript to the shelf. Was he going to give it to him? A fidgety and nervous Hakase-kun was standing there when Hanazawa opened the door.
呼んだ覚えはないが。
君たちに早く会いたくて。じゃなくて、君たちを待っていられなくて。じゃなくて、その。
He's just jealous.
どの道ありがたい。
Hakase-kun looked over at me and nodded politely. I was wondering where my manuscript would end up, but he distracted me and returned the greeting.
おはようございます、玉森君。
Ohayou.
おはようございます。昨日はすみませんでした。
いえ、とんでもない。むしろ僕の方から謝らせてください。
He came into the tatami room on his knees and slowly came closer to me.
昨夜は一剣が君に大変なご無礼を。彼女には僕がきつく言いつけましたから、どうかお許しください。
Seeing his overly pathetic gaze, there was nothing I could do but nod.
その件に関してはもう何とも思ってませんから。
痛み入ります。
大丈夫、大丈夫。
しかし温和な彼女をあそこまで怒らせるとはな。
温和ってどこが？
どこが？
客人に刃物を見せるなんてもってのほかです。
Indeed, she had seemed to consider me her enemy even before she pulled out the knife. Unable to figure out why, I let out a groan while Hanazawa offered a curt
以前
suggestion.
どこかであったか。
そんな覚えはない。
だが一方的に嫌われるのも不服だろう。
まあな。
博士、
Hmm?
後で彼女に玉森を嫌う理由を聞いてみてくれ。
Hmm.
わかりました。
よしてください。悪口聞いたっていい気にはなりませんから。
険悪なままでいいのか。
I wasn't trying to get her to like me, but I felt awkward turning down Hanazawa's favor, so I gave him an ambiguous nod. He changed into his military uniform, stuffed his glasses into his breast pocket, put on his hat, and straightened up a bit.
行くぞ。
Oof! He looks great.
行くぞってどこへ？
どこへ？ I could finally go to the Army Research Institute Laboratory of Earth Science Matter 3rd Division. My excitement welled up, making my heart race. My cheeks turned red as I nodded firmly.
昨晩はよくお眠りになれましたか？
ええ、ま
隙間風がお寒かったでしょう。
博士、そういうセリフは俺が聞くものだ。
あれ、そうですね。
Hakase-kun's like really just like, I'm better. I'm better. Choose me. Hakase-kun smacked his own cheeks. This man who could talk to Hanazawa so casually wasn't the man I knew.
僕と花沢くんの仲じゃないですか。
仲じゃないですか。
親しき中にも礼儀を持て。
ああ、僕ったら花沢くんを怒らせてしまいました。
They are unsufferable. What was with this guy?
そう硬い顔をするな、玉森くん。
あ。いや、しかし春彦さん、この男少し慣れ慣れしすぎやしないですか？
Agreed.
親友の友人が君だったのだ。
だとしても、なんだか無性にイライラするんですよ。
最低だね。
There hadn't been many people I ever feared or hated. When I look at Hakase-kun, I start to feel prickling frustration. Eventually, our eyes met in rear-view mirror. Completely oblivious, he gave me a bashful smile.
でも僕は今すごく幸せです。玉森くんと花沢くん、お二人と同じ空気を吸っていられるなんて。
What a creepy remark! When I look at Hanazawa, who was sitting next to me, he didn't seem to feel one way or another about it. He was pretty slow when it comes to most things, but this was probably an appropriate amount of depth.
こんな博士とはどこで知り合ったんだ？
浅草の料亭だ。
3年前になりますか。
陸士を出た祝いを一人でやっていたところ、相席になったのだ。
懐かしいですね。
あの時は名も告げなかった。
僕は花沢くんにまた会いたくて何度もあの店に通ったんです。
That was surprisingly adorable. I think it's pretty stalker-ish, but sure.
でも実際に再会したのは登戸の研究所で、上官の見学に花沢くんが付き添っていたんです。
博士もまだ下っ端だったな。
運命以外に説明がつきません。もちろん君との出会いも。
Okay.
は
That was an optimistic way to seeing things. I finished listening to his story, then stared out the car window.
ああ、そうだ。川瀬くんも呼んで一度懇親会をしませんか？
I don't think that's a great idea, but...
え？
Hanazawa remained silent. We were probably mulling over something completely different. But either way, I wanted to avoid forming any more connections. Afterwards, Hakase-kun dropped us off in front of the Imperial University's main gate. Well, I'll see you both later, Hakase-kun said cheerfully as he cheerfully rode off. Hanazawa passed through the gate without watching him leave.
研究所に行くんじゃなかったのか？
研究所は帝大の敷地を間借りしている。
So that's how he had been reunited with Kawase. Hanazawa was heading towards Sanshiro Pond. Sanshiro Pond was located right in the middle of Imperial University, but it was surrounded by weather-worn trees and the campus was barely visible. It was a quiet pond, just like Lake Inawashiro in my hometown, quiet and tranquil. Iron Gate stood inconspicuously in the shadows of trees surrounding it. There was no guards and it was secured by an only simple lock. It was surprisingly plain. After walking through the grove of trees, a red brick building immediately came into view.
研究所ってお前と博士の二人だけなのか？
所員64名で構成されている。
How did they all fit in such a small building? Cause it's an elevator, babe. Warm wind gushed out when he opened the door. A long staircase led straight into the basement. Oh, staircase, okay.
いかがわしい雰囲気だな。
Hanazawa scoffed when I shrank back. He confidently went down the stairs without looking back at
こん
me.
な俺にしたのはお前だぞ、玉森。
Ooh, babe.
今だから言えることがある。俺もお前の書く物語が好きだった。
Hanazawa had said the same thing with the same tone
俺も
before.
水上と同じ感想だった。俺が陸軍科学研究所なぞ怪しいところに流れ着いたのも全部お前の責任だ。
責任転嫁だ。お前は昔から自分勝手だった。少なくとも私の前では。
俺が自由でいられるのはお前の前だけだ。
Are you flirting with me right now, Hanazawa-kun? What did that make Kawase and Minakami to Hanazawa? His lack of restraint stressed me out even when we were chasing after the Phantom and had gone down to Umebachiru's basement. Hanazawa's ability to act without concern for his own life had saved me, had supported me, but it wasn't meant for anyone. It was only to satisfy his own curiosity. I know I was being stupid for finding that annoying. That's why I want to be able to get any more involved with Hanazawa more than this. They're going down final step. A strange pentagon-shaped space spread out before me. Stream leaked from tech pipes, making the room damp and humid. It was stifling miasma. But I still couldn't believe the huge facility was beneath the Imperial University. I stood there dumbfounded. Someone came running down the stairs at full speed.
お待たせしました。
博士。
博士。
ようこそ我が陸軍科学研究所へ。まずは署内を案内しますね。
余計なことはいい。
なんていけずな。せっかく玉森くんがいらっしゃったのですよ。
遊びではないのだ。玉森を思うなら本題へ移ろう。
ああ、おっしゃる通りです。
Bye. When Hanazawa started walking, Hakase-kun trudged after him. He suddenly turned around and gave me a tired smile. Honestly, I wanted the complete tour, but went after them with slightly disappointed steps. We were in conference room with a long, waist-high table. There was a fish tank installed in one of the walls. Small bubbles floated upwards. It was a cooling apparatus, Professor said. But he said nothing more when Hanazawa gave him a look.
せっかく連れてこられたのだ。説明くらい受ける義務はある。
地上ではどこに耳があるかわからん。ここへ連れてきたのは機密保持のためだ。
Secrecy about what? Why was this rousing my sense of adventure? Hanazawa looked away from me and clearly gave Hakase-kun a signal with his eyes.
それでは改めて時間跳躍についてお話ししましょう。
Hakase-kun was a little reluctant. He leaned against the water tank and continued to speak as his face darkened.
時に玉森くん、君は幽霊を信じますか？
幽霊？
Yure? That's a pretty outrageous way to start a conversation. I looked at Hanazawa in confusion, but he showed no sense of stopping Hakase-kun. I'm not at Professor's questions for now.
幽霊を信じます。
その根拠は？
この世には陰と陽があって、私たちが陽だとすれば陰の存在がなければおかしいと。
Interesting view.
実に話が早い。
Hakase-kun scratched his eye patch, flicking with his nail. He walked up to me, so I immediately hid behind Hanazawa.
花沢くん、君はこんなことを語り合える友達をお持ちだったんですね。羨ましい。
羨ましい。
今から存分に語り合えるだろう。この気なる非科学をな。
玉森くんは橋姫という名をご存知ですか？
Alright, because he also received the gift of Hashihime, shown by his grayish eyes.
橋姫？
It was a woman's name, right? It was pretty old-fashioned and flashy too. I repeated a few times and started to feel a little uncomfortable. Felt like I heard it somewhere before, or maybe not.
それが何か？
橋姫は瞳に取り付くあやかしと伝えられています。
あやかし？
橋姫に目をかけられた者は時を戻す力が与えられると言います。
Also, that's also the reason he wear blue ties, because he said, I'm wearing this blue too much with your eyes. So, he knows.
今まさにお前の身に起きていることだ。
待ってくれ。私は何かに取り憑かれているということか？
簡潔に言えばな。
幽霊に？
幽霊に？
ああ。
I couldn't help pulling in my hair.
狐付きの類か。
橋姫に人を操る力はありません。動かせるとしたらせいぜい指先くらいですかね。
Since they were calm, I restrained myself, still holding my head. It was something pretty shocking, wasn't it? The way I felt was normal. How could they be so
我が
calm?
陸軍は橋姫に目をかけられたものを水先と呼んでいる。
Oh no. I remember Minakami and feel sad.
陸軍は代々この水先を囲ってきました。けれど
先の水先はある予言を残してこの世を去った。
予言？
未来を変えるためには過去を正さねばならない。俺たちは何としても橋姫の、いやお前
Sorry. Faced me with sincere but almost desperate eyes. He said my power. Was there anything I could do? Plus, so they were looking at me like I was something special. So I couldn't help but shrink back a bit.
だが時間を戻せるのは雨の間だけだ。この3日間で何を変えたいというのだ？
雨の
And as I said blankly, he must have not known. But he immediately understood and nodded a bit as he was talking it all in.
ともかくそれより先は機密に関わる。お前を巻き込むわけにはいかん。
どうしてもか？
どうしてもだ。
花沢くん、少しくらいなら。
ダメだ。
Damn. Akasekun's shoulders slumped as he seemed much more disappointed than me. Seemed like that even Hanazawa was starting to feel bad for him, or at least that's what I hoped. Hanazawa wouldn't back down. Got fed up with all this glaring, so I kept my stiff shoulders in check and wrapped things up.
陸軍にとってこれがそんなに重要なものだってことはよく分かった。前例があるのなら移行するのもそう難しくはないということだな。
He's going to kill me.
それがですね。
The two face each other.
橋姫については分からぬことの方が多い。継承方法もその一つだ。俺の考えた仮説は全部で5つ。すべてお前の積極的な協力が必要となる。
And one of them is... Oh my god, is that why? If that's the reason, I'm gonna be so pissed.
以上を聞いた上でも受けてくれるか。
Well, we'll see, right? Finally gave a firm nod. Even Hakaseku following heard this 5 hypotheses. Hakaseku leaned forward and waited for when Hanazawa was going to
一つ目
say.
の案、それは眼球移植だ。
What?
却下だ却下。まず仮説を聞かせろ。
協力姿勢はどこへ行った？
Even if you told me the plan had no intention of accepting, but at least like understand the insane idea of
さっき
it.
も博士が言ったが、橋姫は瞳に宿る妖怪だという。
だからってな。
花沢くんのおっしゃることは一理あります。橋姫は水底に住むあやかし。水底から現世を覗く際、橋姫は宿主の瞳を借りるのです。そのため宿主の目が青く澄んで見える。
橋姫とやらがそう言ったのですか？
いいえ、ただの伝承です。ですがご覧ください。
He handed me a small hand mirror. When I hesitantly looked into it, my eyes were blue, like Hakasekun had said. I pulled down my lower lid to open my eyes so wide they could have popped out. A stranger and yet myself was there. I shoved the mirror back to him.
気づかなかったのか。
鏡を見る習慣なんてないからな。というか花沢にはいつから青く見えていたんだ？
俺にはお前の目に異変は感じられない。
橋姫に目をかけられたことのあるものにしかその瞳の色は見えないのです。
なんだそれは。意味がわからん。
前例があるからな。
ええ、前例がありますから。
Struck by Hanazawa's firm tone, Hakasekun pressed his hand against his right eye apologetically.
ということだ、玉森。その青い目を俺に。
待ってください、花沢くん。一理あるにはあるのですが、眼球を摘出した場合、その目は光力を失います。
Oh, that's how he lost his eye, isn't it?
前例がありますから。
さっきから前例前例と一体誰を引き合いにしているんですか？
It's Hakase! Hakase could look uncertain for a moment, but then he slowly and nervously opened his mouth.
僕もかつて橋姫に目をかけられていたのです。
I know.
吾妻橋の橋姫を。
ということは博士は私に橋姫がついていると分かって近づいたんですか？
いえいえ、違います。僕は純粋に君と仲良くなりたくて。
Lies! Hakase saw Hanazawa's eyes and immediately gasped. He nodded awkwardly as he looked away
と
from
も
me.
かく第一の案は却下です。玉森くんの負担になるだけです。
We should be thankful Hakase like in love with me.
理解した。
I was relieved from the bottom of my heart. Hakase hadn't been here. Who knows what would happen? Suppressed my pounding heart and let out a deep, deep sigh.
もう無茶なことは言うなよ。で、二つ目の案は？おい。
Hanazawa lowered his eyes. When I heard a clink, I looked down and saw his hand was against his military sword. Hanazawa's eyes opened wide with determination. He just took a step closer to me, the wall I had retreated to at some point. As soon as he grabbed my hand, he rolled his sword slightly against it. Blood dripped from the spot on my thumb he pushed the blade against. At least I've been concerned. Hanazawa put the thumb into his mouth. He was sucking on it. Sucking on it! The moment I turned pale, he pushed my hand away. Then without giving me a second glance, he turned to the professor.
どうだ？俺の目の色は？
黒いままです。お変わりなく。
そうか。
Hanazawa's expression when he turned back was emotionless as
心臓
usual.
より高く上げておけ。4、5分で止血するだろ
What the hell was
う。
that
橋
about?
姫は子孫に引き継がれていく。前例の話によるとな。
ええ。
つまり、その血に意味があるのかと思ったが。
Bloodline means family, you dumb shit.
そういうことじゃないだろう。
I gripped my thumb tightly and lifted my tie above my head as I approached Hanazawa. He didn't look at least bit ashamed.
私がなぜこの力を移行したいかわかるか？非現実に耐えきれなくなったからだ。
分かっている。
分かってない。私はな、心が弱いのだ。だから何事もちゃんと説明したから、それを優しくだな。
I'm fragile. I love that.
お前が軟弱なのは重々承知だ。だからこそ早急に取り掛からせてもらった。説明すればなおさら嫌がられよう。
I'm well aware of your fragility. I love that.
まあな。
Mana. If he had told me he was going to drink my blood, I definitely would have cut me. That meant he was doing this understanding exactly how I was. Guess that could be called a sound argument. Couldn't exactly call it a deliberate attack. Without an outlet for my anger, I felt speechless and began to
俺
tremble.
は本気だ。信じろ。
Shinjiro. Would give Hakase-kun a reassuring look. I lowered the fist that, much to my surprise, I had lifted up. Not sure what to do with them, I crossed my arms.
でも、そういうのはやっぱりやめてくれ。
I pleaded, my tone flustered. Hanazawa nodded sincerely without taking his eyes away from me. I was relieved and started thoroughly to despise how pathetic I was. My unintentionally sigh brought silence. Only the bubbling of water tank clamored noisily. That was when Hakase-kun let out a dry laugh to calm the
まだ
room.
まだ時間はたっぷりありますから。そう気を落とさず。それで3つ目の案というのは？
全身の7割の血液を交換する。
なるほど。結晶交換の治療法を応用すれば可能ですが。
反対だ。
僕も反対です。多くは子孫に引き継がれていくと伝えられていますが、例外もあります。つまり一番に考えるべきは玉森くんのどこに橋姫が宿っているかということです。
When he stared at me this time, I flinched nervously. Felt like the eyes was looking at a friend. But that specimen to be
花
observed.
沢くん、君は当人が当人足りうる証拠はどこにあると思いますか？
すまん。趣旨をつかめん。
例えば 玉森くんの片腕を切り落としたとしても、他者はまだ玉森くんを玉森くんと認識できるでしょ。
What a gruesome
どこまで
example.
も削ぎ落とし、それが玉森くんと呼べなくなった瞬間、削ぎ落とされたものの中にこそ玉森くんと呼べる証拠があるのです。
そんな実験をすれば私は死ぬ。
そう、つまりはそういうことなのですよ、玉森くん。当人が当人足りうる証拠、それは感情と認識を司る精神に他なりません。以上のことを先日めた結果、橋姫はおそらく玉森くんの意識に宿っている。
私の意識？
あくまで仮説です。そこで花沢くんの意識と君の意識を相互結合させることによって、
ちょっと待ってください。まだ理解が。
Basically, you need to canoodle the schnoodle.
そう危険な実験でないのは確かです。この一つの案をどうかお聞き入れいただけませんか。
Canoodle the schnoodle. Look at Hanazawa. He nodded assertively, not paying me any attention. Want to smack some sense into Hakase, but he's planned slightly better than Hanazawa. Hakase-kun was seeking my approval, so sincerely, I couldn't help but give a vague nod.
では今夜僕の家にいらしてください。僕の発明した機械的思考介入装置浮き橋を試しましょう。
Isn't the floating bridge the one who makes earthquakes? But we'll see.
橋姫、浮橋。ああ、宇治十条ですか。
よくぞお分かりで。
なんだそれは。
源氏物語ですよ。あれは3部構成になっていて、第3部宇治十条は橋姫で始まり、夢の浮き橋で終わるんです。
私はあります。夢の浮き橋の終わり方があまりにも曖昧なものだから、後世になって勝手に続編を書く者がいたとも。
玉森くんはあの終わり方をいかが捉えます？
習いに塗装、本に生えめる。
よく覚えているな。
印象的だからな。
これの言語訳はそう本に書かれている。つまりはこの一言で物語が幻想の出来事であると示しているのです。
不思議ですね。
幻想的ですよね。
何をおかしいことがある。
物語が唐突に終わるのだ。
この習いに塗装、本に生えめるという表現はうつほ物語などにもあり、当時では珍しいものではありません。
Both Hakase-kun and I turned our eyes to Hanazawa. He didn't seem to be following. When I looked at Hakase-kun, he turned to me again.
本に生えめるとありますが、
でも、
源氏物語は書称ではなく口称。
書かれているなんて表現は嘘だってことですよね。
そうですそうです。それまでさも真実のように語られてきた物語の中に、突如として外的な領域から嘘を放り込まれる。
語り手の覚醒。
そう、凍結すべき合理性はもはや語り手に失われ、後半はただ漂うように物語が流れていく。
the narrator dismisses this abstract world he's pieced together with it. It's written in script. In other words, by not claiming it as its own.
読み手はこの一文を見、そして必ず最初のページに戻ることになる。
そして気がつくのが題名、夢の浮き橋。
夢と現実にかかる橋。
僕の開発した機械的思考介入装置浮き橋はそんなところから来ているのです。
We're excited. Hakase-kun suddenly puffed off his chest with sparkle in his eye.
しかし玉森くん、素敵な見解をお持ちで。
Technically, he just filled it in.
いや、これは。
Oh, yeah, I could have. Was just reiterating everything Minakami had told me. I read a modernized translation of the tale of Heike before. I was angry that the end was so baffling. When I asked Minakami about it, he told me the author thought so too, and recited original from memory. The line, "Thus it is written in the script," left an impression on me. When I remembered that, I ended up thinking about Minakami. I lowered my eyes.
それでは話もまとまったところで、僕はこれから持ち場に戻ります。それではまた今夜。
Matakanya, cutie. Honestly, though, we really like Minakami. It's so sad. So sad. Lying on his feet, Hakase-kun left the room. His good mood left me shaking my head.
あの人は 未来に生きているな。
奴の話を聞いていて退屈したことはない。
Good for you, babe.
うさんくさい男だと思うか？
Sorta.
大いにな。
俺にはお前と博士が意気投合しているように見えたが。
Are you saying me a freak as well? Couldn't nod or shake my head this time around. Elsa probably would have snapped back with something like, "Don't compare me to him." I might have been starting to see Hakase-kun in a new
変
light.
人は変人だが、私の嫌いじゃない変人かもしれん。お前の歯止め役でもあるしな。
I couldn't help feeling grateful to him for saving me from Hanazawa's outrageous plans. When I glared at Hanazawa's in annoyance, he pat me on the
さっき
head.
はせいて悪かった。
それが本当に悪いと思う態度か？だが、ごまかしはこれで最後だぞ。
ああ、
それじゃあお前の言う4つ目の案に移ろ
まずは浮き橋を試してからだ。
う。どうしてだ？
どうしてもだ。
またその切り返しか。どうせよからぬ案を考えていたのだろ
鋭いな。
う。1から3まで気が触れたとしか思えない提案だったからな。
今後はお前の負担を考える。
誓ってくれるか？
誓おう。
本当にか？
本当だ。
Hontoda. He nodded back when I smiled. I was nervous about the last two plans, but I was sure Hakase-kun would run to my rescue when the time came. He suddenly turned away from me and walked towards the fish tank. His eyes filled with the color of the water, narrowed
お前に
slightly.
は礼を言いたい。何がとはあえて言わん。
I couldn't tell if it was from the fluctuation of the visible current in the water, but Hanazawa's mouth relaxed. The smile I knew well was there. The phone on the wall suddenly rang. Hanazawa's smile disappeared as he headed towards his phone with somewhat self-important steps. Thought he excused himself, but he looked at me from the side as if he needed me for something. His response to the caller were vague. Surprisingly, he handed me the phone.
川瀬からだ。お前に用があるという。
川瀬？
When I hesitantly took it from him, I could tell he was annoyed even before he spoke.
一体どこに行ったのかと思ったら、そんなところにいたんだね。
Miss you too, babe.
それにしてもどうしたのだ？
君、未来から来たんだよね。こんなこともわからないの？
え？
まあ冗談はそこまでにして。君の言う通りになったんだよ。
Oh.
死んだ。
Wow. We did tell him, did we? I forgot.
警察に呼ばれているから、君も身元確認のために来てくれない？
I look at Hanazawa with the receiver still against my ear. In that case, Hanazawa can come too. As soon as I was about to say that, the door burst open.
花沢くん、緊急事態です。すぐに来てください。
どうした？
おととい輸入したトースターが壊れて、パンが取り出せないのです。
じゃあね。浅草警察署南本町分署で待っているから。
Yeah, come on, say. The phone hung up from the other end. Oh, the music sounded so changed. The clouds hung heavier than yesterday and the day before. No matter how many storms had passed, the rain showed no signs of stopping. It was an eerie rainy season. I stared at the eyes reflecting back to me through the dim, foggy
ま
window.
だしばらく降りそうだね。
ええ。
辛いかい。水上くんを救えなかったことは。
Harika-san sipped on some tea. I knocked my head against the window and watched the road.
気を落とすな。君にはまだ猶予がある。
I wasn't discouraged at all. The reason I've been shocked when I heard Minakami died, what was weighing on my heart, wasn't regret, sorrow, or any of the compassionate emotions. I had forgotten. Until Kawase's phone call, I had completely forgotten about the disaster that would occur today. I felt nothing but disgust towards my beyond heartless and unfeeling self. The streetcar sped away once I got off at Asakusa Police Station, South Motomachi branch. Perhaps to avoid more being splashed on him, Kawase was standing at the top of the staircase. The brim of his umbrella was slightly tilted. He dropped his cigarette by his feet when he saw
遅か
me.
ったね。
遅かったね。
すまん。
This was at the time I had been to the police station. Closely spaced window created striped grey lights inside the room. The cold stone hallway gave me a chill, so I quickened my pace. We walked down the street, a short staircase going farther inside. There was a line of countless back doors that all looked the same. Kawase was looking at the side as he checked the numbers on each door, and he put his hand against one of the door. There was 2 coroners already in the room. Kawase took off his hat, bowed to them. My babe. I don't like seeing this still. Small skylight shine a ray of light right onto Minakami's face. His face looks paler than ever. Kawase spoke to the coroners as I stood there frozen. I stared to wonder. Ended up walking to his belongings. They were the contents of his bag that had been spilled out. They were the usual notebook and his foreign language reference book. Some blank ink in a box. Wrap the blank in, open the lid, and peek in the surface of the
何して
liquid.
るの？
Frantically closed the lid and returned it to the box. Kawase's eyes went wide in disbelief, then narrowed as he went back to his conversation with the coroner. He looked back down Minakami's belonging and touched his notebook. Step and swollen texture felt like I was touching his guts. This was in fact something like his heart. I shouldn't have been so eager to touch it. Having gone through this 3 times, I hastily flipped through the pages as if I were handling a used book. His excellent writing skills were spread before me. It was meant to be seen by anyone else. Executed that respectful personality of his. Ended on the last page with Kawase's contact information, of course. Disappointment welled up inside me as usual. I'll sit back down. When I did, I saw Namo Buddha, Mahafairokana, written in big letters at the back cover. Those words weren't written on there before. I looked around the room, made sure no one was looking, and stuffed the notebook in my pocket. What? When we got back to the cafe near Panda Bridge, we ordered our usual coffee. Kawase sipped his, but I pushed mine to the edge of the table, waiting for it to cool. We hadn't spoken since we left the station. Kawase's eyes were somewhat dull, seemed like there was something turning in his mind. Constantly checked his face while I searched for a moment to speak up. He set his coffee. Thinking now was my chance, I pulled the notebook from my pocket, placed it on top of the table and slid it towards Kawase.
水上の手帳を持ってきた。
Kawase choked on his coffee. He somehow managed to keep it from going down his windpipe and kept it in his mouth.
何考えてるの君？
別に怒られるようなことではないだろ
死体のそばにあったものを持ってくるなよ、汚いな。
う。で、死体は死体でも水上は水上だろう。
意識がなくなればそれはただの肉塊だ。
肉塊。
Mikukai.
早く机から下げてくれ。
Grabbed the book and showed Kawase Namo Buddha, Mahafirokana, written on the back cover.
どういう意味だと思う？
真言宗のご奉公だね。お経だよ。
お経？でもどうして水上はこんなことを？
知るかよ。早くしまえよ、クズ。それで二度と俺に触れるなよ。
Kuzu, I love him. Kuzu? It was the first time he ever called me that. Put the notebook away, whipped the table with a cloth. Kawase's shoulders finally relaxed. In an unavoidable silence that followed, he must have sensed how strange his own behavior was. He let out an annoyed sigh.
坊主も自殺する時代ってことでしょ。
Put my cup to my mouth as I pat the notebook in my pocket.
死んだ人間の意識はどこへ行ってしまうのだろう。
さあね。
さあね。
地獄に行くか。往生できずにさまようんじゃないかな。
I miss how hot his voice sounds like. God damn, I missed him.
お前はそうと分かってて自殺できるか？
そもそも死にたくて生きてる人なんていないよね。
I know, right? He's the type to kill people for his life.
意味のない自殺なんてないよ。水上を思うなら君が見つけてあげれば。って言っても君は水上を他殺だと思ってるんだっけ？
He did it for you, babes.
あれは
Suicide.
自殺だ。
It had been suicide.
それは 今日わかった。
He had ignored my advice that alone meant it was suicide.
川瀬、悪いが後のことは全部お前に任せたい。私は今それどころじゃないんだ。
You really loved him. He's trying to move on. Poor Tamamori.
それどころ
The look on Kawase's eyes changed.
それどころじゃないってどういうこと？君の友達が死んだわけだけど、そいつの後始末以外に優先することがあるわけ。
Not like that.
後始末を任されたのはお前だ。私はお呼びでない。
君変わったね。昨日と今日でまるで別人みたいだ。自覚ないんだ。
This time Kawase laughed in amazement. He let out an exaggerated sigh as he held a cigarette in his mouth. Struck a match as if he were taking out his anger on
君
it.
は変えられてしまった。
何に？
蜃気楼にだよ。
What? Tobacco smoke drifted around the area. Kawase didn't look like he was
そいつ
choking.
は遠くのものを近くに見せ、地にもつかない理想を浮かしてみせる。あたかも手が届くかのように錯覚させる。
Cafe door burst open. But Kawase paid it no mind and continued, his stream of scathing insult.
冒険家を無双化に堕落させる。
川瀬。
The men who came into the cafe headed straight towards us without giving the waitress a second glance, while all eyes in the cafe gathered on him. Once he stood right beside us, Kawase gave him an eerie smile.
ねえ花沢、俺も博士の家に行っていいかな？
Love him. Little bitch. I love him.
構わんぞ。
俺の玉森くんがお世話になってるんだ。危険城への手土産は相当のものがいいよね。
Kawase folded his fingers together, rested his tilted head on top of it. He then turned his wide sneer towards me. Hanazawa was the one who had told him to wait at the cafe in Kanda. We rode in Hanazawa's taxi and headed to Hakase-kun's familiar home. We stopped at Ikeda Manor on the way. Kawase came back out with a bulky book in his hand. When I gave him a questioning look, he answered, "It's a perfect gift for Hakase-kun," and smiled suggestively. Hanazawa and Kawase exchanged looks in the rear-view mirror. Kawase-kun handed me the book. As a nonchalant smile came to his face. What was I, his servant? In that case, I had a right to pick inside. Put my hand on the cover. There was a huge padlock on it. Kawase burst into laughter. He seemed to be watching me struggle with it.
鍵はここだよ。
Kawase flashed a bundle of keys, reached out to snatch them from him, but he lifted them out of my reach right in front of me. The way he tossed them in his hand got me on my nerves, so I crossed my arm and turned away from him. Suddenly, I spied Kawase in the glass. He immediately slid closer to me, whispered quietly, so Hanazawa couldn't hear him.
ねえ玉森くん、君は俺と氷川ど
Oh,
っちが好き？
どちら好き? God, he's so... he's a temptress, he's a temptress. Fuck him. If you guys remember season 2, oh my god, I just remember what happened in season 2. That was like... wow. Rough.
俺を思うならちゃんと俺の味方でいてくれよ。
Hey. Kawase sat back up. There was no smile on his profile. When I looked back at the window, a crooked grin came to his face.
ようこそいらっしゃいました。花沢くん、玉森くん。それに
こんばんは。
Konbanwa.
こんばんは川瀬くん。どういった風の吹き回しでしょ
何か不都合でも？
う。不都合だなんてめっそうもありません。君が直々に来てくださるなんて喜ばしい限りです。ですが今宵は。
Hakase-kun kept his eye on Hanazawa. Hanazawa responded by looking down. So even Hakase-kun seemed to catch
夕
on.
食をご用意してますから、どうぞ川瀬くんも。
俺は池田栄一だ。あんたがやすやすあだ名で呼ばないでくれる？
Eh? He changed his name?
踏み込まれる筋合いはないから。
では何と呼びしたらいいでしょう。
池田くんでいいよ。
Kawase snatched away the book I was holding for him and tossed it at Sazan. He then threw the key at her while she stood there confused.
忘れ物だよ。
Hakase could look at him with a distant stare as he were upset or perhaps worried.
池田くん、改めましてようこそ氷川邸へ。僕は食事の手配をしてまいります。皆さんはここで今しばらくお待ちください。
Hakase scurried to the second floor and vanished. Hanazawa suddenly went up the stairs after
ねえ
him.
花沢、やっぱり俺はご迷惑だったかな。謝っていたと伝えてくれ。
過ぎるぞ川瀬。
Hanazawa left without turning back. Nothing else to do after he left the ass behind. I sat down at the sofa.
えげつない態度だったな。
俺らしく接しただけさ。気を許せば頭をおかしくされる。
You are.
いや、博士の一体何を恐れているんだ？
He glared at me with cold eyes. Soon I noticed he was walking up to me with brisk steps. He had pushed the tip of his cigarette against my nose. It wasn't hot. Kawase shoved the damn cigarette into his pocket as he muttered something
蜃
indifferently.
気楼ってのはあいつのことだよ。
博士が蜃気楼？
Is he talking about his metaphor from earlier? Kawase sat down heavily on the sofa across from me. He watched the raindrops flooding down the window as he tried to suppress his bad mood.
でもな、川瀬、あの人は7割変人で3割変態の気があるが、お前が思うほど悪人じゃない。現に私は博士に救われている。
へ
花沢の突拍子もない実験に付き合わされそうになった時、博士の一声に助けられたのだ。
君はバカなの。花沢が突拍子もない。そもそも突拍子もない男にしたのはどこのドイツだよ。
I know, right? So it's the first time I'd ever seen Kawase so worked up. All I could do was nod in agreement. Suddenly sprang to his feet, approached me again.
花沢は真っ正直で堅実で勤勉なやつだったはずだろ。あの男が俺たちの花沢を堕落させたんだよ。
Oh, Kawa! He put his hand on my knees, restricting my movement. Ooh, you're touching me. When I leaned back out of reflex, he brought the tip of his nose close to my face.
さ
Kawase!
っきも話したけどちゃんと俺に合わせてね。
Hey.
合わせるって一体。
花沢のためを思うならさ。
The door on the second floor opened, cutting off my concern. Itatsurugi was standing there.
3階の食堂にご案内します。
Kawase moved to me, still looking at me. He then looked up at her and smiled, slowly headed towards the
玉森
stair.
君も行こうよ。
One who had introduced me to Hanazawa was Kawase himself. It's clear he had been supervising the meeting every step of the way. Yes, that's how pliable I was. Seemed to think I was someone he could control, but still couldn't figure out that smile. So we rode the elevator. We went down an eerie hallway. The dining room she led us was stifling, the swaying lamps was blinding. Hanazawa was sitting at the end of the long table. Takase-kun was sitting across from him, so Kawase and I sat in the middle seat across from each other. The mood was definitely off. The air was tense as a gathering of kings from 4 different countries. My eyes wandered to my toes as I nervously waited for someone to speak. Hitatsuri-san went around to each seat and poured red sake into our empty glasses. It's clearly red, as if it had scooped out a lake during sunrise. As I grabbed the stem of the glass, shoveled the contents in the
すごい
bowl.
発色だ。
この鮮やかな症状比は桜の色なんです。花酵母から作られた日本酒なんですよ。君に似合うと思いまして。
まるで血の色だね。
Indeed, suit him. Kawase gulped it down without savoring it at all. He then looked at me in slightly feverish
君の
eyes.
それは何？
Sazan-san was pouring a clear liquid into my glass.
花森様は下戸と伺いましたので、お水をご用意しました。
水？
Mizu?
その水は富士の氷結で取れた氷を溶かしたものです。放映以前の爆発によってできた氷結らしく、買い取るのに高くつきました。
I grabbed the wine glass with the stem and tried swirling
鉱
it
石生
around.
の終わり頃、 つまり1万年前の雨水ですが、体に害はありません。むしろ何にも汚されていない綺麗な水ですよ。
Put my nose to the glass, sniffed it first. It smelled like unrefined sake. Put the glass to my lips and stuck my tongue in. It was salty. It felt thick in my throat and lingering tingle. It slowly warmed my
な
stomach.
るほど、高純度ですね。
わかりますか？海の向こう側にある深い味わいが。
なんとなく。
氷川家はこういった純度の高い水で酒造りをしているんです。米の味と香りを伝えるには、まず脇役に主張があってはいけませんから。
お水の気持ちがわかるなら、あんたも身をわきまえてほしいね。
This guy, really?
あんたも水と一緒だ。俺たちを目的に近づける水流でしかない。友達ごっこなんてごめんだよ。
そんな風に思われていたのですね。
Are they gonna like? Oh my god! If they're gonna kill Kawase, I'm gonna end this episode. Kawase got smelled bitterly. That must have been bothered him. Kawase eyebrows twitched a little. He lowered his eyes as if keeping himself in check.
食事なんてまどろっこしいことはやめようよ。それより早く本題に移らないかい。玉森くんになぜだか宿るその力を俺に移す方法をさ。
What is it to you? This was news to
実は
me.
玉森くんとさっき話し合ったんだ。水先にふさわしいのは俺だってね。
You give me a calm smile. I was the one who was most surprised. That mean Kawase-kun knew about the Mizusaki? In other words, about time
だよ
travel?
ね、玉森くん。
だよね、Tamamori-kun.
え
I nodded a little without looking at anyone. The hell was Kawase thinking?
継承者は以前俺だ。
玉森くんの意志を尊重すべきだと思うけどな、俺は。その力は意志あるものなんでしょ。部外者の俺たちがとやかく言うもんじゃない。玉森くんが決めることさ。
ですが池田くん、
それに安心してよ。俺が水先となったからといって私利私欲のためにこの力を使うつもりはないよ。俺が望みのない人間だってのは花沢が一番よく知ってるよね。
望みのないものには何も救えん。
Kawase narrowed his eyes as he looked up at Hanazawa. He opened his mouth to snap back at him. He must have remembered this was Hanazawa he was talking to. He slowed for a smile instead.
倫理の話をしようか。
Kawase swept his gaze over at us as he were handing out playing cards.
ここは小池で俺たちは魚だ。たった4匹なのは川が干上がってくぼみに取り残されたんだと想像してみてくれ。
池田くん、お言葉ですが。
これは前工場だ。無駄なものと思うなよ。
Kawase-kun was crushed under the harsh words hurled at him. Hanazawa drank down his sake and let out a short
続きを
sigh.
話せ。聞こう。
なんだ、興味あるの？まあいいや。取り残された俺たちはもう何日も飯を食っていない。そこに旅人が一本の釣り糸を垂らす。限界の玉森くんは今にも釣り絵に飛びつこうとしている。さて、それが罠だと分かっている俺たちはどうする？
I didn't came up at the end of the example.
なお、旅人は魚一匹で満たされる腹をしているとする。不良なら旅人はこの池に押し入って無差別に一匹さらっていくとする。
What did you just say it in English? Love that though. Kawase gave Hakase-kun a cold smile. Startled, Hakase-kun lifted his shoulders and limitedly stretches his right eye.
あんたならどうする？
僕ですか？僕は何もできないと思います。
玉森くんを引き止めもせず玉森くんを見殺しにするわけだ。
彼の名を出すのはやめてください。でも一匹の犠牲があればみんなは助かります。
Wow.
だからといって博士、
ごめんなさい、仕方なかったんです。ごめんなさい。
俺が問いたいのはこの先だ。ショーを犠牲にするという意図した帰結と大を助けられるという予見される帰結。 何もしないっていう選択から二重の結果が生じたわけだけど、これは2つの罪かと咎められるのか、それともそれぞれ功罪として相殺されるのか。
Kawase asked this question to Hanazawa. He opened his mouth without
ど
hesitation.
ちらでもない。俺たちに与えられた選択は一見3つだ。何もせず玉森一人を犠牲にすることか、もしくは自分が皆の代わりに犠牲になることか。だがどれを選ぼうと俺たちに功罪は生じない。
Mm-hmm.
どうしてそう言えるの？
普遍性にとらわれているからだ。旅人を満たす犠牲になる前提を受けた俺たちにこの状況を回避する手立てはない。与えられた選択は全て犠牲を要し、個別性がない。
じゃあもう少し広く考えてみようか。
Kawase snatched a bottle of sake he thought he had brought 4 refills, lifted it high like a trumpet, and drank it down.
例えば一人の犠牲で世界中の人々が助かるとする。この中の一人が犠牲に出ると名乗り出たとき、あんたたちはどうする？
Uh-huh.
選択は相変わらず3つだ。友を犠牲にするか、友を引き止めて別の誰かの名乗りを待つか、それか自分が代わりに名乗りを上げる。
You look at me this
でも
time.
もしその友が氷川だったらどうする？知り合って日も立たない友が犠牲になると言い出したら。
そりゃあ引き止めないと思う。
玉森くん？
I couldn't look at Hakase-kun as he made a fuss. Wait, what the hell? We were talking about this so seriously. Talking about something hypothetical. Not something real, or at least we should have
俺
been.
も氷川をかばわない。けど、その犠牲が花沢だからこそ、俺は引き止めてるんだよ。俺の言いたいことを分かってくれる？
え？
少なくとも玉森くんは分かってくれているみたいだけど。
Made eye contact with him and nodded. Honestly, didn't get it at all.
教えてくれ、花沢。
Same.
俺が君の代わりになろうって思うことは罪なのか？
え？
道徳的行為の背景に市場があってはならない。
じゃあ君は
Green one.
何のために水先になろうとしているんだい？
国のためだ。正義とは国に尽くすことに他ならない。
Bullshit, bitch. Kawase wants sacrifice for. Kawase fell silent. Suddenly gave a tired grin. Grabbed his empty glass by the stem and raised it up for no
国
reason.
のため。国のためって。君の国って何なんだ？
Cutie.
国が君に何かしてくれたのかい？
見返りを求める精神は道徳に反する。
君は変わったね。変わってしまったよ。俺と玉森くんの気持ちがどうでもいいなんてさ。
え？
これ以上俺に恥ずかしいこと言わせないでくれよ。
Kawase said before suddenly falling flat on his face. His glass rolled away and small amount of sake left in sad spilled out. When I got a better look at him, his cheeks were bright red. He looked totally sober, but he must have been drunk. The dining room, he suddenly fell silent. Hakase-kun's eyes wandered as he muttered, "What was that about?"
すまん。川瀬は喧嘩上後の眠り上後なんだ。
喧嘩上後？今のが喧嘩？
だが眠ってくれたのは都合がいい。博士、浮き橋の準備はできているか？
ええ。
Okay. With that being said, it seems I must end this episode here. Let me just move myself over. Like, it's better to leave it here for now. Technically, it's not been long. It's pretty short, actually. For a first episode, I usually go for longer, but we're gonna go short this time. We're gonna savor it. Also, this is a weekday. I have work tomorrow. Just do this because I thought, like, why not? I'm waiting for Wukong to download. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Honestly, replaying this game again made me remember how much I love this game and its writing and its characters, and it just... This is honestly one of the best anime I ever played. Second to Mystic Messenger, but yeah. Anyways, so hope you're all as excited as I am to play Hashihime again. Probably in the future I will do like a background or like a repeat season 1 with a better quality to ensure you guys don't have to rewatch that crap again, but you can watch a better version of it with better audio, better quality, and it will stop at each branch, so you know we don't have to go through all the pain of watching mid video and things like that. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Hopefully we'll finish this by the end of the month. If not, you know, why am I not surprised? Also, I've been trying to make a new model. Hopefully I'll get it done in the middle of this, because I feel like it's a trend that in midst of recording Hashime, I changed my model. I kind of want to keep that going, so let's see how it goes. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye.